Hello and welcome to another episode of R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm Kayla McGowan, editor-in-chief, and today we're diving into personal growth, leadership, and beyond. Our special guest is Jesús Miranda. Jesús is a project director for First Onsite in Miramar Beach in Pensacola. He has 7 years of experience where he started as a general laborer and he moved his way up to project director, combining technical expertise with deep empathy and a personal commitment to safety and service. He is originally from Venezuela and he now resides in Florida. Jesus brings a powerful story of resilience and purpose. So, without further ado, please welcome Jesus.
Well, thank you guys. My pleasure to be here. I feel honored with this opportunity, professional and personal wise. I think it's actually a huge opportunity for learning, growth, and then also career advance within the restoration industry. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. When I heard your story, I talked to your team and we were like, let's see how we can make this all work. And you have a very unique story. It's a powerful one. And, I think it's very inspirational too. A lot of the younger generation is starting to come into our industry and they're kind of trying to figure out, like, oh, okay, I know I can make money, but how do I make this a career, right? How do I make this a home? So your journey is actually very cool to see because you started as a general laborer and now you're a project director, and it's really inspiring. 7 years, you've accomplished so much. So, what personal values or experience have shaped your approach to leadership in this recovery portion of our business the most?
I think the main values are going to be responsibility, resilience, and growth. That'll be my main fundamentals for on a daily basis. That's the huge one right there. If you use those three as the main values on your daily basis, treat this more than just a 9 to 5 job. It's gonna take you. The sky's the limit. That's my take on that. As a migrant, you're looking for a better life. You're looking for a career opportunity. You're looking for the American dream per se. Mitigation, restoration itself, the whole industry has offered me and then a bunch of individuals that I actually met before that career, that option right there to go above and beyond, and then get a better life, and then actually build a career out of this beautiful industry. I know it's quite delicate for a few people out there. They don't even know what it we do for a living. I mean, I try to explain. So what do you do? I do proper restoration. So you do remodels? No, no, no. I do actually proper restoration. So it's kind of explain that, educate out there the public because not everybody knows what mitigation restoration is. So I think that's going to be the main fundamentals right there. Those three will be your main Bibles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, really well said, because I think too when I tried to explain, where I fall in this industry, I've been in the industry for 10 years. People are like, "Wait, what do you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, do you know like the big franchises or, in your location, maybe it's mom and pop, right? Depending on who you're talking to." And then they like, "Oh, it makes sense, right? Because your everyday consumer, they don't really know who we are unless they unfortunately have an emergency is generally what happens, right?" And so I think when you say like, oh, if you have a water leak and then somebody comes and fixes, where the water damage is, or maybe you have mold, and then people are like, oh, okay, like it kind of
So you
makes
you
sense.
you guys are those, right? Yeah, exactly right. Also, you do plumbing, uh, kind of something like that. Yeah, I mean we're related to it. So yeah, is that mix right there? I guess it falls again into education. It's educating the public. 99% of the time when I explain to people, besides first on side, what we do for our living on a daily basis, it gets to the point they're like, wait, what now? Now you got some folks out there that they know 100%, but it's trying to promote that education out there. That's the main goal.
Yeah, 100%. I think we also aren't professionals. We're also informants of, our general public, right? Because again, they usually don't know who we are or what we do until they absolutely need somebody where, they go to Google and they're like, "Hey, I have water damage in my house. Who do I
What should I
call?"
do? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's also really important to know, yes, we wear that industry professional hat, but we also wear the hat of general education to the public and even to our teams, right? A lot of people coming into this space, they don't really know who we are and what we do, right? So it's really amazing to see how we can educate each other and the public. So, with that being said, you specialize really in biorecovery, right? And it involves both technical precision and emotional sensitivity. How do you prepare your teams to handle these situations with both professionalism and compassion?
So one of the things is one example that stands out was a situation where the family of my homeowner was present. Uh, the technical side, proper PPE containment and sanitation was critical, was huge for us. What mattered the most was, I approached them and then I got with my team and said, hey guys, we had the opportunity to actually help this family over here. With the proper authorization, we went ahead and, got the right information, what happened in the job. And then, of course, I reached out to my crew. Hey guys, this is what we got going on. We did a huddle in there on the spot. We did a JSA, job safety analysis, and then we went ahead and took a look at everything top to bottom. What needs to be done? What is the scope of work? What PPE we need? What kind of PPE do we need? Transportation, disposal, and then SOPs for disposal. Due to that, we went ahead and kind of set up a game plan per se, and then after that, I have to approach the family and explain to them, the best way possible with a little bit of empathy, of course. But my empathy in that moment reassured them as much as the actual remediation did. That's going to be, a huge key point for this particular job that I was mentioning. And then once we're done with the client, explain to them, we went ahead and explained to the guys, hey, now we got the details of what's going on, what happened, and then this is what needs to be done. Let's go ahead and do it the right way. Let's go ahead and get in there and make sure everybody goes home the right way and be safe. That's actually a huge key point for us. But I think between the technical side, preparation is a huge standpoint for us. It's not just getting in there and then figure out what's going on. No, we when it comes to biohazard recovery, there's no way to improvise. Because safety is going to be a huge key point for us, but also it's a technical side of it. And then that goes from, like I said, PPE all the way down to donning and doffing, all the way down to even how to actually, mess with your own tools, clean them afterwards, and then sanitation for your for your tools, 100%. So that's the main thing. Can
Yeah,
we
and I
talk that?
think
Sorry,
no, you're good. I can take off that last part.
I
Wow.
kind of went a little
You're
repetitive.
okay. You're okay. You're okay. No worry. I would definitely say too, you really did shed some light on having a game plan and then explaining it to the consumer. That is so relieving for somebody who's going through something, right? Because the last thing you want to have to is try to do is figure it out, right? So you've
Yes.
already told them what's going on. You're also kind of there to be their sounding board essentially, right? Because that's the nature of the beast. We're there, we're explaining what we're going to do, but also they have some feelings that they're trying to get out too. So, compassion, empathy, and just really a calming voice will do so much for those who are going through some of the hardest times in their life, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we have been in situations where we went ahead and we slowed down. I mean, we slowed down and explained to the client because, of course, you can imagine they're on a shock status. They feel they're in shock right now. They're being extra stimulated with all this information. There's individuals coming in with tie-back suits on, with the full faces on, and then they see the movies and they see what's going on, and it's the first time dealing with this. We have to be the mediators on that. We have to slow down, Miss, Mister. This is what we got going on. This is what we got going on. Sorry, this is what we got going on. This is the best way to help you. This is what's happening. These are the next steps. We got your back. We will send you this information. We will send you some documentation afterwards. You can take a look at it if you're comfortable, if you're ready for it. If you're not, that's okay. We understand. We can help you no matter what. If you need me to talk to your, for example, any individuals involved in the situation, we can help you no matter what. And that's the technical side, but also the compassionate side and empathetic side from our side when it comes to contractors and professional within the remediation industry. It's not just treating this as a one more job, one more project. Just get in, get out, call it a day. Let's go ahead and use the racks and throw it in a quarter and at the corner of the van. No, we don't want to be that guy. We want to be the right partner, the partner that you actually need out there. So that's actually, our goal when it comes to either a small residential job all the way down to, an emergency where they're needing multiple areas to be remediated and then, possibly contaminants on the spot. So that's our goal, like I said, as a contractor and professionals in the industry.
Yeah, and I would say too, you said it really well. Like you're their partner, right? You want to be trusted, and you want it to be a positive, memorable experience because I think we've all heard of the negative ones, right? And so, that's where you guys come in and you take the professionalism, the technical side, the empathy, the compassion to a different level, and you make sure that you're taking care of your clients. So I know you had a recent designation that you obtained, the CBRT through ABRA. What does that mean for you and First Onsite's capabilities in your guys' region, right? What does that mean for you guys?
So, I mean, for me, the CBRT designation is more than just a title. It represents resilience again, growth, and that responsibility that I was telling you about. It is a huge, huge part of our career. And then in my personal, situation, I think it's proof of how far I come from working without proper training and now being able to confidently say, hey, I meet and we meet the highest industry standards. It's also a reminder that we carry a duty to protect others, and then not just by performing work safely, but by leading with integrity and insurance. My team does too, because the integrity is a huge part for us as well. We're just not trying to cut corners. I know there's a room for that, unfortunately, and then that falls again with, you know, the education part. If you don't provide that education within other teams, within other companies, there's not really that fundamental, that basis right there where you can actually have your team grow and then be safe at the same time. Hey guys, we're gonna be messing with a job that is gonna be this complexity, this detail right here. No, they just go ahead and just, hey, we have a new job. Let's go ahead and dispatch some teams and then let's get it knocked out. And they're going to be like, well, what's going on? I don't know. You guys will find out when you get there. And then, that's information right there is, I think it's one of the main frustrations that everybody can relate to. I mean, if you have any professionals watching this, they can relate to this situation where, yeah, I got a job that I got sent out. And then when I got there, I was like, what am I dealing with? And then, my PM, everything okay? No, that's just, what are we doing with this, guys? What's going on over here? So, that falls again from education all the way down to the empathetic part. I mean, I know it sounds like a little of a cliche, but it's the reality of it. We just have to treat every single job out there like a unique situation. It's not just get in, get out, call it a day, and then your customers will have a, very hefty perspective from you guys, from everybody, or as an industry, restoration itself. Yeah, some guys walked in, they got some stuff knocked out, and they didn't even tell me what's going on, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I think going back to the CVRT designation, I think that's a huge, huge uh, landmark for me as well, career wise. It's not the end. I mean, the sky's the limit. I'm gonna keep pursuing as much as we can out there, and then thanks to First Onsite, they've been a huge, huge career-oriented company where they actually help you to promote and growth within the company. They just don't keep you here for years and then you keep doing your job, and then no, they actually help us to actually grow. And then as it says right here, together we rise. And then it's not just an individual; it's actually a whole team as a whole supporting each other. And then that falls into education, certifications. Hey, I don't know this. Hey, how can I help you with this? What's going on? Let me help you with this. And then that is another sign of true leadership. I think that's going to be a huge landmark towards an actual team. When they say about work, family is a family, I feel this time like it is. We're a family where, personal, work wise, there's a separation in there, especially in this industry that, we're 24/7. We have to keep our phone with us. That's no problem. But there's an understanding from a human part. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I will definitely say too, hearing your story, that means that there's several others that share a very similar story where they maybe started as a general laborer and maybe they have their own franchise or their own location or multiple, I think that's really great to hear the sky's the limit because I think a lot of times people come into our industry and they're like, well, where do I go from here? And you're like, well, there's a lot of avenues in this industry, not just on the technical side. There's a marketing side and there's like an accounting side and there's software side. There's like all these sides to what we do, which is really cool. You just happen to be in the thick of it, right? Or you're in the field.
Yeah.
And so, we've talked a lot about safety. I've heard you mention safety quite a bit. You know, what are some of the most critical safety lessons that you guys have learned, and how do you guys ensure your teams go home safe every single day? And I know you talked about this a little bit. I think it starts with the phone call, right? What's the situation? And then you come up with a game plan. But I think really, at the end of the day, safety is always on everybody's mind. How do we get home safe? So, what kind of lessons have you guys learned along the way, and how does that help you guys go home safe every day?
Well, one of the huge key points that I mentioned before, it was not improvising. Early in my career, I didn't realize how dangerous it was to be working without training or proper equipment. That's a fundamental right there that you cannot mess with. I've been in situations where hazards were overlooked. Misinformation about it. We don't even know what we're dealing with, and then let's just get it done. Wait, hold on. Let's take a pause. Let's do this in the right way. Let's do this in a safe way. Do we have the proper PPE for it? Do we have the right equipment for it? Do we actually have the proper PPE that's going to protect us for whatever is in front of me? That's actually a huge, landmark that I noticed, and then it became a lesson. And then looking back, those experiences shaped me into someone that takes safety and training seriously. And then one of the main lessons were transportation. We did not mess with transportation. I mean, we're authorized, we're certified. We stay of Florida, as you mentioned as well, in the proper transportation of, biohazard, the procedurals and debris in a few words. But also, I think that was critical. They This kind of motivated me to never let my team go through what I went through, but also to reshape them and then understand that, hey guys, I got told and I learned from years ago that we don't mess with X, Y, and Z. Of course, I'm not able to just go ahead and define a Bible or just follow a guideline that is going to be the same way, because every single job is different. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and I would definitely say to your point, not everything is the same, right? We deal with different scenarios on a daily basis. Yeah, they may have some similarities, but I think with the culture that you guys have created, it allows the team to ask questions like, hey, I know we haven't really done this before, or maybe they haven't done this before. How do I do this properly, right? You guys have provided that safe space, and so that everybody is able to go home safe and sound, which is really cool to hear because I think one thing that I really love about our industry is that we're evolving. We are always learning from each other, right? And so, maybe somebody asks a question that you've never heard before and you're like, "Actually, I've never heard that before. Let's talk about that." So I think it's really cool to be able to talk about this type of stuff because safety is always everybody's priority, right? We
You
cannot
know,
effectively do things without
One
it.
of the main things that I learned actually in the restoration industry, I met folks within my trajectory and career that they don't even we might be in different companies, but we actually share multiple opinions when it comes to our daily basis. SOPs, and they might be like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." I'm like, "Well, I recommend you to work on it real quick, or let's take a look into a little bit of the education part on that, the specific matter, because we're not doing that right." So I'm not gonna just correct. We have to actually grow within the industry, and then at the end of the day, I know the restoration industry is huge, but at the same time, it's not that big yet national wise. So we're just trying to promote that education within our area, and then also within the country, and then internationally. I mean, let me give an example. First Onsite is actually an international company. I mean, we got locations in Canada, we got locations in the U.S. I mean, we actually go above and beyond when it comes to stuff like that. And then I know I might be in Florida, but I might be, I know somebody in Illinois. I know somebody in Ontario, and then they don't even know how to deal with, proper decontamination or properly donning and offing. I don't know that. So, never hurts to actually help your team. And then, if it's a possible individual who wants to look for a career change or look for a better house to actually promote within, we're always welcome. I mean, you said it right here. It's right here. Together we rise. That's the main thing. It's not about you cannot be a selfish individual in the restoration industry. There's no way for, there's no room for cockiness, and there's no room for selfish. There's no room for individualism in here. We have to work as a team, and that's a huge value for us as well.
Yeah, and I would definitely say too, you mentioned that it doesn't matter if they're in your franchise or not, right? We utilize everybody in this industry. In fact, a lot of times I know some of the best of friends are actually with different companies and they help each other out. So it's really cool to see that because at the end of the day, we're all here to serve our community. We're here to serve the general public and make sure that they're taken care of. So, I think you said that really, really well. So thank you for mentioning that because I think, a lot of times people may only see a logo on our chest or what have you, but
Color, yeah.
also, yeah, we represent the industry, right, as a whole, which I think is very special because, like you said, it only takes one person to go into a job and leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth about restoration in general. So if we're working together, we help kind of alleviate and avoid that. So you've had an amazing career so far. I can't wait to see what the next 7, 10, 20 years look like for you. What would you say to somebody who's considering a specialization in biorecovery? What advice would you give them about the mindset, the training, and the support that they need to succeed in this portion of our industry, right? I think we've talked about mindset, right? Empathy, compassion, but also training. And then the support, you have to have a really great team, right? So what advice would you give to somebody who's kind of on the fence about maybe doing this type of work?
Well, restoration might sound that it's not the right industry for everybody, and I understand that for sure. However, if there's a little bit of a spark in you that you're like, hey, I might, you know what, I like what they got going on. They seem organized. They think that they actually look like they're professionals on the matter. I want to do that. If you feel like your gut is telling you, hey, go for it, restoration is actually the right way for you. I think one of the main things are going to be growth. That's going to be a huge one right there. Yeah, you might be swinging hammers right here, but within 3 years, within 4 years, within 2 years, who knows? Depending on performance and depending on your education, between those two right there, you can thrive on it for sure. I mean, that's actually, again, the sky's the limit. I know it's kind of quite the cliche, but it applies in this situation because I've seen individuals before that they're the perfect combination between labor and then the same time managing, and then they got that spark of dealing with multiple individuals, clients, and then you can see it. I mean, you can see it right there, and that's what we need. We need doers. We don't need talkers, but also we need the ones on the spot. That's gonna be the main thing because you've seen so many folks out here. They got a huge potential, and then I just don't want them to get wasted just on the basis level, and then they just call it a day and look for something else. To me, that's a huge loss for the industry itself. No, because X1C knows what they're talking about for the past 20 years. I'm you know what? I'm just gonna look for something else. Don't take that. Don't go that way. Don't take no as an answer. Just trying to grow within and then do everything the right way. That's gonna be the huge key point for us when it comes to, hey, should I keep doing this? Should I go there? Should I start doing this for a living? As a migrant, it changed the perspective of your daily basis out here. But also, I know this kind of work is not for everybody, but it could be for you. Like if you got that spark in you that you want to be, I mean, based on titles, of course, you can be a PM tomorrow. It's not about the title. It's actually about the role that you're fulfilling. I mean, you're a leader. You're part of leadership. You're gonna be the ones gonna be responsible to help that technician, that crew, that client, that community. That's gonna be on you as an individual, and also you as a team. So it's actually the main advice. You can do it if you got a spark in you. If you're really good, when it comes to uh, uh, talking in public, expressing yourself, helping your team out, and then you feel like you're making a change on a daily basis, restoration is the right way for you. That's there's no doubt about that. And then also the huge one for actually me and my team is actually helping through moments of crisis. Uh, you know, the men and women who does this kind of work, they bring technical skills, but also compassion and strength. We're often behind the scenes. I know that, but what we do, we do a truly difference on people's life. We might not get the credit, we're not firefighters pulling up in a fire truck, but also my huge respect to first responders as well. We're first responders for sure, but we're, in this case, we're private first responders, but we're here to help. And then we actually bring a change, and then we bring actually a little bit of education, compassion, and strength to actually the community. I mean, over here in Miramar Beach, you see our trucks and people recognize us. Oh, those are the guys from First Onsite. They might not like us, the reason why we're here, but they actually are safe and they're relieved that we're here. Every time we get new job, clients are like, "Oh man." I mean, they actually welcome us with a smile. They don't love the reason why we're here because they got a leak going on. That it became a Cat 3 sewage loss with different 5 units, and then we have to deal with multiple areas, and now we have to be extra careful. But they're relieved because First Onsite is there, and then they're helping us, and then they're actually bringing a lot of good stuff on the table. They're just not showing up, bringing a mad face, and then showing up with this tractor, and then start shoving in water and call it a day. No, we're actually being the human side of it. Hey guys, don't you worry about it. Let's go ahead and help you guys out. Here's some gloves if you need to touch some stuff that you shouldn't be touching. Again, that goes again to the education part. I mean, a set of glove I know is money. I understand that, but at the end of the day, we cannot take anything for granted. I mean, if it's something that you shouldn't be messing with, don't mess with it. That's gonna be the last key on that. But yeah, that's gonna be my take on that for sure.
Yeah, and I would definitely say too, there's so many opportunities for people to get involved in this industry. I mean, we kind of mentioned it earlier, like it's not just the technical side or being in the field. There's people that have to do the admin side of things. That's tedious too. Marketing and community education, it doesn't just start and stop with you guys being in the field. It's a continual thing, whether you're sponsoring sports teams or taking part in, town halls or whatever the case may be. There's literally a job for everybody in this industry. And some people love the technical side of things and they love to be in the field. I know people who have been in the industry for 20, 30 years and they're still in the field. They just love to be in the field. Like they don't want to do anything else but help people. And so this industry provides a very unique opportunity and also a great career roadmap, as you mentioned, right? You started as general labor, now you're in a leadership position, and who knows where you'll be in the next couple of years. Maybe you really like the position you're in and you're very content, right? Like there's also that opportunity. And I think, for people who are listening and maybe thinking about, hey, maybe I do a little bit of water or mold, and maybe I want to go into the bio side of things, talk to somebody like Jesus or talk to somebody in your area that does that type of work and see what their thoughts are, right? That's the one thing that's really great about our industry is being able to connect, whether it's social media, in person at events, or, emailing. I think we have a great opportunity. Well, Jesus, that's all I have today. I'd like to thank you so much for your time and sharing your journey with us on Ask the Expert. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to you, to the team. Actually, I appreciate you guys. I want to give a huge shout out to my mentor, Robert Bonham. Yeah, I mean, he showed me what true leadership looks like. He just didn't tell me what to do. He invested in me, trusted me, and gave me the room to grow. Same thing as what kind of leadership that actually tells you about, and then I want that model to follow up, and then promote within our team. My goal is to build a legacy where my technicians not only excel at the technical side, but also feel value. That's a huge key point right there for us in the restoration business because you don't see that every day. Feel value is a huge, huge, huge part of it because as soon as you get in that van, you want to make sure that you're being part of something. You're just not doing a 9 to 5. And then just to wrap it up, like I said, I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm trying to grow just like everybody else. I think the homeless part it shows what kind of person you are out there on the personal and technical side. But no, if you feel like you are, you're trying to do the right thing, and then you're trying to switch to, a professional matter, trying to grow within. We're always got, open doors at First Onsite. We're always trying to look to promote talent, to grow within, and at the end of the day, have fun. That's one of our core values out here. I remember back in the day, I was like, let me try to remember these core values, and every single time, one of them is actually have fun, and that's actually the main thing: learning, doing the right way, promoting, helping your community, and of course, have fun. I want to say thank you guys again, and I will see you guys around.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jesus. Well said. I would definitely say this is not a 9 to 5. This is a very fulfilling industry, if you will. And,
The
we,
lifestyle.
yeah, exactly. But I would like to say thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hope to see you on another episode in the future. And for all of you watching, as always, take care. And we will see you on the next episode of Ask the Expert.